Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit ActiveDay.com to apply.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Number 2, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. We are here at the Ameristar Casino and Resort, Council Bluffs, Iowa, just across the street from Omaha, across the street. Technically, but it's more so across the river from Omaha, Nebraska. And we've been here since last Friday. Big thanks to the folks at Our Lady of the Lake, of course, Scovo IB Spa, and Yingling Beer as well for making all of this possible. Hope you've enjoyed all of our content here from Omaha, whether it's LouisianaSports.net or the shows we've been able to put out. We're going to do a couple more. We're going to do one tomorrow from 2 to 4 pregame. If LSU wins on Sunday, probably going to head home on Monday. If we do have a Monday game 3 to play, then I guess if Coastal wins in 2 as well. I haven't really considered that thought, and I don't really want to consider that thought. But if there's a game 3, then we'll have our show here on Monday before a 6:30 first pitch, I believe, on Monday night. So let's get into hour number 2 here. We'll have Peter Flaherty coming up in 15 minutes from Baseball America to talk about this matchup and talk a little bit more about Coastal Carolina. But I want to talk a little bit about Coastal Carolina because I've talked a lot about their pitching, and that is worth talking about. You're talking about a staff that's number 2 in the country in ERA, number 3 in the country in WHIF. They're in the top 20 in strikeout percentage, the top 7 in terms of fewest walks allowed. OPS against is 3rd. Like, their pitching staff on paper is phenomenal. And I look at the stuff for the top 2 guys on that staff, and it's very, very good as well. And LSU will see those guys on Saturday and Sunday. But what about offense? What about offense from this Coastal team? Because the Coastal Carolina team that won the national championship was very physical, hit a lot of home runs. They took Alex Lang deep 4 times at the box. They were a team that slugged a lot. And this is not the identity of this Coastal Carolina team. And when you look at them on paper, like, some of the offensive numbers are bad when you consider that they've won as many games in a row as they have. They won 22 games in their league. They've won 26 games in a row. Like, it's shocking that some of their statistics could be this poor with that resume. And I don't know how to necessarily quantify it. Like, I look at entering the College World Series against left-handed pitchers. They are 267th in the country, meaning there are only about 40 teams worse than Coastal Carolina. In the 306 teams in college baseball, there are only like 40 teams worse that strike out more often against left-handed pitching. Like, to put it a different way, they strike out 25% of the time against left-handed pitching. There are 265 teams in college baseball that do a better job than that. They don't walk well against left-handed pitching. Their OPS against left-handed pitching is 94th in the country. Here comes Kade Anderson, the best left-handed pitcher in the country at this point. You look at Coastal just across the board on offense. In slugging percentage, they're 125th in the country. Strikeout rate, they're 183 teams better than Coastal Carolina. Home runs, they hit 1 a game. That's 156th in the country. Now, that may not matter coming up, but they haven't hit 1 here, and if the wind's blowing in, LSU probably can't hit 1 either. But doubles are important. Even when the wind blows in, they're 142nd in the country in hitting doubles. That's second worst in the field, only to UCLA. So the offense, statistically, entering the College World Series is not very good on paper, but they're winning all these games thanks to the number 2 pitching staff in the country in terms of ERA. Now, you start to break it down individually, and you look at the players on this roster and who scares you and who can impact you offensively for this Coastal team. And really, it kind of starts at the top of the lineup with Bodine. He is a catcher. He's the Coastal had a good note in their game notes. He is only the fourth catcher to hit leadoff in the College World Series since they switched the bats from wood to metal in the early 70s. So you're talking about Caden Bodine, who is their leading hitter at 326. He's their best on-base guy at 459. He's not a stolen base threat. He's 2 for 9 in steals, but he's a good hitter at the top of the lineup. He's the catcher. He is their leadoff man, and you'll certainly see him. After that, you're looking at Sebastian Alexander, who has 10 home runs and hits 314. Colby Thorndike hit 314 this season as well. Only 4 home runs for him. That's it as far as guys hitting 300 or better. 3 guys. And they saw Sunbelt pitching all year. So it's interesting that they've put this together the way that they have. And we've talked to Joe Healy about Coastal really the last 3 weeks. Just kind of they did a great job in winning their regional. Florida didn't play well enough to get there. And play them, so they got to play East Carolina twice, who was not very good this year. And then they go to Auburn, and they do a really nice job. But, I think we all know what Sam Dutton is and what he is not. He was phenomenal against LSU this year. But in the last month of the season, he kind of leaked a little bit of oil. And then you play in a super, and you didn't – at Auburn, you didn't – I wouldn't call that an ace. You get to the College World Series, and Arizona is the first team that you see. And Arizona's ace is Owen Kronkowski, who has an ERA of 5.4 with an opponent batting average on the season of 304. I would not call that an ace. Now, the only pitcher that I could go back and look that Coastal has faced that I could even try to force into Kade Anderson's category, if I'm really working to get there, is Ethan Kleinschmidt of Oregon State back on Monday. Kleinschmidt had a really nice year as a sophomore for Oregon State. He was great in the Super Regional the week prior against Florida State. Oregon State's Ethan Kleinschmidt, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So, that's a good Florida State lineup. He is left-handed. He's 6'2". He's not an All-American, but he had a nice year. And you saw Coastal face him on Monday. And in that game, 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 6 runs, but only 2 of them were earned. He walked 3 and struck out 7. He was forced out of the game with 103 pitches. I rewatched that game in preparation for this show and to write my piece at LouisianaSports.net. And you go back and look at that game on Monday, and a lot of you were at work and didn't see it. It was an afternoon game. Well, the leadoff batter of the game is Bodine, and he hits a ground ball to Ivar Arquette, who's one of the best shortstops in college baseball. He throws it away. He fielded it and threw it away. And then Kleinschmidt gets a double play ball right to the second baseman, who's 6 feet from the bag, and it goes through his legs into center field. And then Kleinschmidt threw a wild pitch. So, yes, it gave up 6 runs in 4 innings of work, but Oregon State just fell apart defensively and allowed 4 unearned runs to score. And that's just obviously what you cannot do. So Coastal didn't light up Kleinschmidt, and now you're talking about a team that strikes out 25% of the time against left-handed pitching, facing a left-handed pitcher in Kade Anderson who leads the country in strikeouts. Coastal's tough. They're scrappy. They've hit the ball when they needed to. They've got 2 huge doubles in this event. They had a double in their first game against Arizona in the bottom of the 8th inning that cleared the bait. That was a 2-run double that pushed the lead from 1 to 3 in the 9th inning and allowed them to win that game. And then in this game I'm talking about against Oregon State, with all that help that Oregon State gave them, with 2 outs, they hit a big bases-clearing double into the gap to bring home 3 runs. And those are the hits. If you're not going to hit homers and you're not going to be a prolific power team that's got a deep lineup, that's going to really, you got to get the hit immediately when it matters. And so as I analyze this game and I look at Kade Anderson against this Coastal lineup, and I consider the weather conditions where you're not going to pop a 3-run homer on a bad pitch, and what has Kade Anderson's only bugaboo been all year? The homer. He gave up 1 homer against Arkansas to Robinette, and early in the season he gave up the long ball a little bit. That's not going to be in play for Coastal. They don't have a home run here. Let's see if I can find the statistics that Aaron Fitt brought up. And this is keep in mind, this is a team that played in a very, very small ballpark. They're 142nd 156th in the country in home runs. Like, they just don't hit a lot of home runs. They got one guy with double-digit homers. He's got 10. And so, to me, it seems unlikely that Coastal is going to get enough done on Kade Anderson and not strike out and not slug and string enough hits together against the toughest lefty in the country to put a 4 or 5 spot on him. It seems unlikely to me. Baseball does stuff like that all the time. It's unlikely to me that Zach Root lasts 1 2/3 innings against LSU in the College World Series opener. That's unlikely to me. It happened. It's unlikely to me that Lewis Coleman gives up 5 homers to Texas in Game 1 of the College World Series final. He did. But LSU survived it because they were all solo. It's unlikely to me that Coastal Carolina hits 4 homers off Alex Lang in the Super. Like, stuff happens, right? But if I'm just being honest about analyzing the game, looking at Coastal Carolina statistically, looking at Kade Anderson and what he's been, like, I don't have a great reason to suggest to you that Coastal is gonna knock him around. I feel like Kade Anderson's going to work 7 innings of probably 1-run baseball in this game, and I think LSU's got an awesome chance to win it because I think he's going to strike these guys out. I think they're going to struggle to get 4 hits in an inning, and Coastal's probably going to have to bank on in this first game the fact that they get on with a leadoff walk and then get a bunt down and then drop one into right field for a hit, and they can try to with Flaherty on the mound, who's a good right-hander for them, win it 3-2. And maybe LSU feels the same way with Flaherty on the mound in those win conditions. I don't know. But when you look at LSU is far more talented offensively than Coastal. It's really not close. On the mound, Coastal's talent at the front end can help. I'm going to talk a little bit tomorrow about getting into the bullpen, which LSU needs to do in the game on Saturday. But this is a good matchup for Kade against this Coastal team. And we'll see what that looks like come 6 o'clock tomorrow night at Charles Schwab Field. I want to get somebody else's opinion on that. Peter Flaherty does an awesome job covering baseball for Baseball America. We'll chat with him on the Jim's Firearms Hotline when we come back from the Ameristar Casino here in Council Bluffs, Iowa.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yingling Flight. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday's show is always brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. We're here at the Ameristar Casino and Resort in Council Bluffs, Iowa, just across the river from Omaha, Nebraska. LSU and Coastal tomorrow night, starting Game 1 of the College World Series Final. To chat about it, we bring in our guy Peter Flaherty from Baseball America, good enough to give us time again here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Peter, thanks for that time. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Before we get to LSU and Coastal, a thought on any of the other 6 teams that have been eliminated? What was the biggest storyline of those that have gone home, do you think?
Yeah, it's hard not to talk about what transpired in a couple nights ago with LSU and Arkansas in that 9th inning. Just a quartet of defensive miscues culminating in a thrilling walk-off victory for LSU. It was I'd really never seen anything like it. Kind of a string of plays like that in one half inning, especially in Omaha. I don't think anyone else really has. So it was, even afterwards and watching that, I kind of had to catch my breath a little bit and process what had happened.
I mean, how do you square that Dave Van Horn's career with as good as they are and the fact that the trophy case is still empty?
Yeah, I mean, I don't view Coach Van Horn in any other light other than him being one of the best coaches in our sport and one of the top human beings in the sport. I think the one hurdle, obviously, they got to clear is dogpiling in Omaha, and it's been a real tough hurdle to clear at that. But I think they're right there. They'll get theirs in due time, and I think the ways in which they've lost only kind of exacerbate that lack of championship.
Yeah, I guess that's my next question. You kind of answered there, but if you had to bet, if I gave you $20 to put down, will Arkansas win one under Dave Van Horn, would you bet yes or no?
I bet $100.
I'm kind of there with you. I know that it's I think a lot of LSU fans might roll their eyes. Well, they're Arkansas, they never win. But those teams are so good. That team that LSU just beat twice is really good and absolutely could have gotten it done. They just didn't quite get there. All right, let's move along to Coastal and LSU. This Coastal team, do you view this as some sort of Cinderella, or do you view this as one of the best programs in college baseball?
No, hardly, and I'm happy you led into the question with that, because I was going to say myself, this is no Cinderella team. This isn't some, podunk little mid-major school. That's not a slight at anyone, but this is one of the premier programs in college baseball. They do have a national championship dating back to 2016, and this is a team that can really, really pitch it. So I think that they're excited for the opportunity to compete for another one. I think that they are going to do the exact opposite of kind of turtle up and crumble. And I think they're going to kind of rise to the occasion, or excited for the moment to compete on college baseball's biggest stage.
Let's talk about the pitching staff first. We found out today that they're going to go with Cameron Flukie on Saturday to give Jacob Morrison full rest on Sunday. He last pitched on Sunday against Oregon State. So what do you think about that decision? And first, tell us what about you think about Flukie and Morrison as pitchers.
Yeah, so outside of LSU, with Kade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, Coastal has one of the most formidable and best 1-2 rotation punches in the country. With Flukie and Morrison. Used to be Morrison and Flukie, but just the way everything is lined up, they're kind of flipping it around here so they can each be on full rest. But starting with Cam Flukie, really impressive arsenal. Fastball into the mid to upper 90s with plus carry through the zone. He's got a big arsenal which only enhances his stuff, and then another really enticing combination of strikes and stuff, and just the track record of performance with not only Morrison but also Flukie is really, really impressive. And, Charles Schwab Stadium has long had a reputation of being a pitcher-friendly park. So, I think that also plays in their favor, and also plays in Kade and Anthony's favor as well.
Beyond Flukie and Morrison, and obviously Eichhoff, who's their third guy, who's kind of crafty senior, and then you've got the closer, is the rest of the staff as talented, or is there a spot in the bullpen that LSU might be able to exploit?
Yeah, so I'm really bullish, and everyone's pretty bullish on the depth and talent of Coastal's entire pitching staff. It's 3.2 team ERA, ranked second nationally, only to Northeastern actually. But they've got a quartet of bullpen guys who they'll ride and are comfortable going to multiple times on a normal weekend, let alone in the national championship series. So I expect a heavy dose of Dominic Carbone, Ryan Lynch, as you alluded to, Hayden Johnson, and then also Matt Potok. Those are kind of their four horsemen, 2 righties and 2 lefties. Each guy is a little bit unique from one another and provides a different look. So, and again, I think the theme with Coastal's pitching staff and pitching coach Matt Williams has done an excellent job with it, is dominating the strike zone and competing around the zone. They aren't just kind of, floating the ball over the plate. Like, they're throwing quality strikes and staying off the barrel, and they've done so all year. So, they've got their guys, and they're going to be ready to roll.
Peter Flaherty is our guest from Baseball America. Does a great job covering college baseball. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Friday. I'm curious your thoughts on this Coastal lineup. Some of their teams have been really physical in the past. This one doesn't really meet that profile, but they're doing plenty to win games. They've won damn near 30 in a row. So what do you think of the offense from Coastal?
Yeah, it's interesting. This year is kind of a polar opposite Coastal team than in years past. It used to be, this is a very offensive-centered team. Lack of pitching is going to kind of do them in the end. But this year it's a little bit of a change in tune. And, this offense isn't as kind of big and physical and, doesn't have as many guys who can necessarily drive the baseball. But it's a deep lineup. They consistently stack quality at bats. They wear opposing pitching staffs down. Just sort of this pass the baton mentality. And I think what stands out to me is the ability of almost every hitter 1 through 9 to step up and come through with big-time hits. Obviously, it starts at the top with Caden Bodine, who, for my money's worth, is the best college pure hitter in this year's draft class. He's got elite bat-to-ball skills. He's an above-average defender behind the plate. Steals a ton of strikes, which you'll see for the next 2 or 3 days. He's a really impressive player. And then outside of him, Colby Thorndike has come through with a couple of big swings. He's had a 3-run bases-clearing double in each of the last 2 games. Sebastian Alexander, Dean Mijos, Blake Barthol, all guys who have come through in big spots in Omaha. So, they've got 6 or 7 guys, if not more, that I think that they can feel really confident in when they're in the box and are going to put together really competitive bats.
How do you like it going this weekend? Do you think it's a 2-game series, 3-game series? Who's your winner?
I have LSU winning it. I've kind of wrestled with whether or not it's going to be in 2 or 3 because I think that Coastal is going to give the Tigers all they can handle. And again, whether it's 2 or 3 games, it's going to be a really competitive couple or a few games. Like, I think LSU fans at the end of this whole deal will kind of leave saying, man, that Coastal team is really freaking good. And I'd be shocked if that's not the case. So I'll kind of hedge a little bit. I'll say LSU in 3. But, for reasons we've talked about previously on your show, the depth on both sides of the baseball really stands out with LSU, especially that 1-2 punch in the rotation with Kade Anderson and Anthony Hines. And that's why I wouldn't be totally shocked if it's a 2-game sweep for LSU. And then offensively, they've just got a plethora of big-time bats who can do serious damage. So I've got LSU winning it all. Second national title in the last 3 years, and Coach Johnson is, for my money's worth, the best coach in our sport right now.
Appreciate a little bit of time. Enjoyed the baseball this weekend.
Thank you so much, guys. Likewise.
He's Peter Flaherty, Baseball America. He and Jacob Rudner have done a great job over there covering college baseball. They've both given us some time over the course of this week, and we certainly do appreciate it. All right, let's step aside. We've got 30 minutes left to go. I still got to talk about what I think is going to happen in this series. I haven't done that yet. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Time to tell you about my friends at Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. You know that by now, but you probably haven't been by the dealership because it's pretty new, and you're not always in the market for a vehicle. But when that time comes for you personally, just make that one more stop on airline at PQ at Genesis of Baton Rouge. The facility is first class. You feel like a guest when you're there. It's brand new. It's state-of-the-art. It's comfortable. The ambiance is great. They got an awesome coffee machine. Got some snacks for you, and the staff is going to be so welcoming. There's a stigma that goes with the car buying experience. You feel like you're going to be pushed around and maybe oversold or taken advantage of, and that's just never going to happen at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They pride themselves on it. It's a luxury brand of vehicles at a reasonable price. So when I say luxury brand of vehicle, don't just immediately price yourself out. Go check them out. Airline at PQ. Or you can start that process online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. When you do that, you can go ahead and see the entire inventory. It's all right there. And then you can start that process with the brand ambassador. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody. And presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yingling Flight. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Got 30 minutes to go here on a Friday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show. We're here at the Ameristar Casino Resort outside of the ESPN Bet Sportsbook across the river from Omaha here in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Question in the Value for Chat just got from Robert Collins says, Hunt, do you think Reeves gets start this weekend? I think it's possible. Braswell is now, I think, 1 for 34 or something like that. He just is really fighting it. He's not making contact. It's a tough look for Braswell at the plate right now. So against 2 tough right-handers, it's possible that Reeves gets an at-bat. Here is my thought on that. Tanner Reeves is a nice player. I don't think he's some sort of impact bat that you immediately insert into the lineup that you feel like gives you some thump. He's a better hitter than Michael Braswell. I don't know that he's an above-average SEC hitter. And how much defense are you giving up there? I watch pregame infield every game that I'm covering, that I'm certainly doing here in Omaha, and Reeves kicks around a little bit in a ballpark that's not allowing much. Do you want to put your best defender out there to make sure you make the plays? Or do you want to see if a guy that's, I don't even know what Tanner Reeves is hitting this year. I realize he hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, but I'm certain he's not hitting some astronomical level. So here are the statistics. 2025 season statistics. What's Tanner Reeves hitting this year? Tanner Reeves is hitting .262. He's 17 for 65. He's got 6 extra base hits, 2 doubles and 3 homers. So I think with Braswell's defense, which is very good, I mean, he made a great play on a short hop pick against Arkansas back on Wednesday. With his defense, and he can bunt, which he didn't get one down the other day, I know, but he can bunt. I just feel like he's probably the guy you want to go to. And I know that a lot of people have kind of brought up the Jordan Thompson thing with Braswell, where Thompson really struggled up here in the 2023 series, and he was fighting it bad, and he was striking out a lot, and LSU fans in the stadium at Charles Schwab Field, came to his support. There was like a standing ovation. It was a Jordan Thompson chant. And it was like I got chills being in the stadium for that. And he did come through with a huge hit against Florida in Game 3 early when the game was very much in doubt. He had a huge swing. I think it was the second inning where LSU kind of erupted, maybe the third, but he had a huge hit. And the thought is that there might be some of that for Braswell. If you've seen the scene from earlier this week where Michael Braswell saw a fan that had his jersey and was just so taken aback that there would be a fan that would have his jersey, and he talked about it with the media, said, look, I haven't had the best year. It's been kind of tough. And to see that there was someone who had my jersey, meant the world to me, and he signed it. And I think it would be so cool if Braswell did get a big hit. But obviously right now you're looking at him, and he is a black hole in the lineup right now. He's just not able to get anything going offensively. Hadn't been able to get the bunts down. It's just been a tough go. He got hit by the pitch with the bases loaded, which helped. But he just has not been able to do much else. But I'm not ready to take Reeves and put him in the lineup right now because I just don't think you're upgrading significantly, and I think you are downgrading defensively significantly. So in games that figure to be pretty low scoring, I want Braswell out there playing defense at third base. Third base is not a premium position in the grand scheme of baseball. In college baseball, where errors happen all the time, ask Arkansas. I want to try to eliminate as many of those as I can, and I'm not giving extra outs to Coastal. So I'd like to go with Braswell there, especially for a team that's going to lay a lot of bunts down. He's very comfortable moving forward. So that's my opinion on that. Here's my opinion on what we should see over the next 2 days on Saturday and Sunday. I think Coastal has their hands full with Kade Anderson, candidly. I just don't think that their lineup is going to consistently hit him. I know I talked about that at the top of this hour, but this is something that I brought up before the Super and said this. You have to come to a point in time with either a team or a player where they've proven themselves to a level where it would be foolish to try to doubt them, right? If at some point you didn't feel like that 2019 football team was going to go out there and play awesome, then you're going out of your way to be pessimistic. If for some reason you didn't think Paul Skeens was going to go out there and absolutely shove, you were being unreasonable, like he just was. And Kade is not on Paul's level. That was some unicorn type stuff. You had. I mean, at that time, Paul Skeens was probably a top 20 pitcher in the world. I mean, I don't think that's completely unreasonable to say. And he was playing college baseball. And I think he improved in the minor leagues, but you're talking about a guy who was throwing strikes with run at 101 and had a good slider. There weren't 15 or 20 better pitchers than him, and you had him. And Cade's not there. If Kade went up to the big leagues right now, he'd struggle a little bit. But he is in college, and he's really, really, really good. And that Arkansas lineup is outstanding, and he put him in a blender. Put him in a blender on Saturday night. And Arkansas is better offensively than Coastal is. And they crush left-handed pitching, and Coastal doesn't. So I think LSU is going to win on Saturday because I think Kade Anderson is going to lock up Coastal Carolina's offense. I think LSU is going to play defense behind him, and I don't think Coastal is going to score 4 runs on Saturday. That's my opinion. I don't think they're going to score 4 runs. And so then you get to Sunday, and you got Big Morrison coming out there, and he's good. But I think he's about like a lot of the guys that LSU has seen this year. And it will be less a step up for LSU to go see Morrison as it will be for Coastal to go see Anderson. They've not seen anything like him. LSU has seen a lot of first-round picks this year. And no, they didn't light up Kyson Witherspoon. They didn't light up Liam Doyle. They didn't go crazy on a number of aces this year. I thought they did a really good job against Gage Wood. I think they did a really good job against Jared Spencer at Texas. Those are probably the best two offensive efforts. Zach Root didn't have it last week, and LSU did enough to get him out of the game before Gackle came in and was great. But you got to Gackle eventually. And when you consider that LSU has been facing Gabe Gackle for a lot of the last two games, and you consider that Coastal has seen Arizona's ace that allows a better than 300 batting average on the season, and they've seen the number 2 from Oregon State, and then they got to the back end of Louisville's pitching staff, which I'm not going to give a ton of credence to. This is going to be a different world for them when they step into it on Saturday. That's just the way that I see it. So for LSU on Sunday, I don't see them stepping into a different world. Do I think they're going to have to work to get some things done? I do. But I believe that once you get into Coastal's bullpen, that LSU can start to work it a little bit. Statistically, that's not the case. Peter Flaherty knows Coastal better than I do, and he just told you in the last segment they got 4 really good dudes, righty and lefty. I've watched 3 of those 4 dudes on film. I think they're good. I think they'd be good in the SEC. I don't think that they're some sort of dominant team, and I think if you put Coastal in the SEC, I don't believe they'd be second in the country in ERA. They'd be top 15. And they're a good pitching staff. I'm not here to disparage Coastal's entire pitching staff and tell you they'd have no chance in the SEC. I think if they played in the SEC, they'd be really good. But their numbers are inflated because they're playing in the Fun Belt. And Morrison's going in the first round, and Fluky's going to be a pro. But LSU's got a lot of those dudes too, and they've been watching this. They've been seeing this for 16 weeks now. So I like LSU in this series. I like LSU in 2 games in this series. I realize there are some people who think that might be crazy considering how good these 2 Coastal starting pitchers are. But I just think LSU's better. And I've watched enough, and I feel like when I looked at this bracket, the team that scared me the most was Arkansas. Arkansas is really, really, really good. And you look at the arms that they trot out there between Gage Wood, who LSU didn't see here, but saw him in Baton Rouge, and Zach Root, and Gabe Gackle, and Gibbler, and Fouch, and all these guys, and LSU, and then you look at the offense they've got with Davalon and Aloy and Maxwell, and they're just really, really good. And LSU beat them 4 out of 5. This LSU team, when Kade Anderson pitches, they've won 16 of the 18 starts. When Anthony Ianson pitches, LSU goes out there and gets it done. We've seen it now for 2 months. And I don't care that Coastal's won 26, 27 in a row, whatever. I just think LSU's better. And I think LSU's going to have a huge home crowd advantage. I think that LSU's going to turn out in major numbers here in Omaha. And I just feel like LSU's got the better team. Now, if LSU gets swept 2 games in this deal, I'll be back on the air probably on Tuesday. And I'll tell you, hey, I was dead wrong on that one. And we'll talk about it more on tomorrow's show when we're here at the Ameristar from 2 to 4 pregame, getting you ready for it. But I just feel like at this point, LSU's the best team. And we heard from Peter Flaherty there in the last segment, he'll pick LSU to win. I'm going to check and see what the folks from D1 Baseball think about it. And maybe everybody's just being naive and underestimating Coastal. I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm telling you that they're a really good team that wins a lot of games. And they feel like they've got a chip on their shoulder, and they said all the right things at the press conference today. But Kade Anderson might be the first pick in the draft. And Anthony Ianson's 3rd in the country in strikeouts. And LSU's just got a lot of guys that can really hit. And as long as LSU hits the ball down and hard, like they did against UCLA, it was brilliant to watch those guys against UCLA over the course of 2 days. And they did enough against Arkansas, especially when they had to, hitting the ball hard. And if they can do that and not pop up like they did for 3 days at Auburn, which was brutal to watch, but it was the one weekend they really just didn't have it this year. You look at the consistency that LSU has played with, there's no reason to think that they're not going to play with that consistency when the stage is the biggest and the brightest. So to me, I like LSU in 2 games. We'll certainly be here talking about it tomorrow. I'll have all your coverage on LouisianaSports.net. If you haven't checked out LouisianaSports.net, really encourage you to do so. I previewed Coastal Carolina this morning. I've got a story up that a lot of you have clicked on, so a lot of you hopefully are coming, that there's a guide to Omaha, and I'll tomorrow have an advance of the game previewing the matchup between Kade Anderson, we think, and Cameron Fluky. Talk about the the Coastal offense. There will be a lot more to come on the website tomorrow and as we get to game time. And certainly I'll have post-game there as well. So go check all of that out. If you missed any of our show today, you can always catch it on demand, as we say. All right, we got one segment left to go. We'll step aside, come back, wrap things up, play some Take It or Leave It on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carver and his team are just phenomenal folks to work with. It's storm season. It's not fun to talk about insurance, but in our part of the world, it's important. Storms show up. They impact buildings. They impact businesses. Do you know how your business interruption limit was calculated? Do you know if it's got a 1/8 monthly limitation on it? Do you know if you might be incurring co-insurance penalties if your buildings are not properly evaluated? These are questions that, like, a lot of people on the business side may not look at very intently. You just want to look at the premium, and they understand that at the Highland Insurance Group. They've got dozens of markets available to make sure that they can place your insurance program in a market that's going to be competitive in terms of cost, but they also want to be sure that it responds properly when you've got that issue, whether it's a storm, cyber breach, lawsuit, car accident, whatever the case may be. Make sure your insurance program responds properly. The Highland Insurance Group can do that for you. They're located in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's storm season. Make sure before the storm shows up that you've got the property policy taken care of. It's the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yingling Flight. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Council Bluffs have been for a week now. Started doing shows last Friday here, and we'll have at least one more from just outside the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. We will be here tomorrow from 2 to 4. If LSU is playing a baseball game on Monday, I'll be right here from 1 to 3 in my normal slot. If the series is over, win or lose, we'll see what happens on Monday. I've currently got a flight out of town very early on Tuesday morning. If they want me to hang around and do my show after a national championship or a heartbreaking sweep defeat, I may be able to do that here. We'll see. I think there are some Palmers back in Baton Rouge that might object to that, but we'll see. So I can assure you I'll be here tomorrow, and then we'll see how Monday unfolds. But it's been an incredible stay, and we certainly appreciate the folks here at the Ameristar. Excited to get it rolling for the championship series. This is why you come, I guess. And LSU's finally gotten there, and the purple and gold invasion is in full swing right now. I've seen a ton of Tiger fans over the last couple of hours rolling into the Ameristar here. So fired up for a big weekend here in Omaha and Council Bluffs. Cannot thank the folks at Our Lady of the Lake enough. Cannot thank the folks at GoFlow IV Spa and Yingling Beer enough. They have made this trip possible for me and for our station, and it's been a great go of it for now over a week that I've been here in America's heartland. So we got one thing left to do. That's a little bit of take it or leave it before we get out of here for the day. Back.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it.
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, the great summer beer. It's going to be real hot in Baton Rouge, real hot in South Louisiana, real hot in Omaha the next couple of days. You're looking for a light, refreshing, crisp beer. Yingling Flight, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. If you're tailgating, you're watching the game, you're at the pool, you're at the golf course, on the grill, getting ready for the big game, Flight by Yingling is what you got to drink. And want to shout out David Bowman, Crescent Crown District Manager, pushing Yingling products over there. Shout out to Flight by Yingling, bringing us take it or leave it every single day.
All righty, first one here. Let's see. All right, first one, Sammy Sosa returned to Wrigley Field today for the first time since his last game as a Cub. Retire Sammy's number. Take it or leave it.
Got to take it.
I'll take it.
Got to take it. They're not going to do it because the Ricketts are a little cranky and they wanted the apology, and the ownership's not happy with Sammy based on the cork bat and all the steroid stuff and whatever. I don't care, because what that guy did in 1998 changed my life forever. And that sounds dramatic. It's not, because I now pay attention to the Cubs like 350 days a year because of it, and it's because of him. And I don't care that he's on steroids, and I don't care that he corked his bat, because when he was doing that, I was 10, and I don't care. It just looked awesome, and it brought a huge smile to my face, and now I'm a huge Cubs fan because of it. So I'm thrilled he's back. He deserves to be back. He's a huge part of that franchise, and I wish they would retire 21 for how awesome he was. I don't think they're going to do it, but it's a step in the right direction. I'll take it. Beck, you're a little younger than me, but what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I became a Cubs fan when I was probably like 7 or 8. So I grew up in the early, like around 2009, 2010 was when I first started. But of course, as I became more of a fan and looked and found more of the history, of course, Sammy Sosa is one of the first guys that I really learned about, and his that run, the 98, the battle with McGuire. I mean, that's one of the greatest storylines that the MLB's ever had. So I agree. Of course, they should retire his number. They won't, but it's sad. But at least he's back in Wrigley Field where he belongs.
He hit 20 home runs in June that year, and if you can imagine 10-year-old me watching the Cubs every day at 1:20 while I'm out of school, and like when he would hit those home runs at Hop, and it was like every day. I would start running through the house. Like, it was more important even that he was hitting homers than the Cubs were winning to me. And they actually did win the wild card that year. But it was just, I can still put myself in that living room back on Brittany Drive in Shreveport, watching Sammy hit homers at 3 o'clock in the afternoon during June. It was the indelible moments in my childhood. So shout out Sammy.
Yeah, I wish I could have had the same story. However, as a child watching the Cubs in like 2010 and 2011, I was watching most of the time they lost. It was not a very enjoyable experience, but only 5 years later, of course, got the World Series, so that ended up being worth it. But all right, last one real quick. The Pacers got it done in Game 6 as you predicted, because you are a great NBA handicapper.
That's right. They
will get a Game 7 in OKC on Sunday night. Take the home team. Take it or leave it.
I'll take the home team.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm not taking a road team in the final game there. I think that NBA home court is a big deal. I love those arenas. I mean, I'd prefer it if it was Madison Square Garden. But this is probably better than like Miami, if we're being honest. They're going to pack that place out, and I think it'll be a great theater. I can't promise that I'm going to lock into the NBA Finals when I got the Tigers trying to win a national championship in baseball. But shout out to the NBA.
The game's at 1:30 though. I mean,
Oh, is it? Well, tomorrow?
The finals game is Sunday at 7:30, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got dinner reservations, and I'm hopeful to be celebrating a natty and eating a steak. Still probably not going to watch.
All right, that's it.
All right, appreciate it, Beck. It's going to be an incredible scene for LSU and Coastal. There's a lot of storylines that are spilling over into this one. Jay Johnson can avenge the biggest heartbreak of his coaching career, which was leaving the tying run 90 feet from home plate in 2016. LSU can do a little bit to avenge one of the more embarrassing weekends in program history when little old Coastal Carolina came to the box and won a super in front of big bad LSU. And those are interesting storylines. I don't think they're very important, but they're interesting. What's important is LSU getting this thing to the finish line. Their legacies on the line for Kade Anderson and Jared Jones, and two guys that have just been sensational this year. I would put Anthony Ianson in that camp as well. You start to think about some of the guys on that team and what their legacy means, because you're comparing yourself to a bunch of guys that have won national championships. Like, there's something that all those guys have in common, that Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens and Todd Walker and Eddie Furness and Patrick Coogan, and those guys have national championships to their name. And at LSU, that's what it takes to reach the highest level. And while Jared Jones is a superstar at LSU and has numbers that nobody can take away from him, and he's a national champion, but to be in the lineup for a national champ, I think it means a lot. And Kade Anderson has one more chance to go out there as an LSU pitcher and dominate. And I expect that he will do that. I told you in the last segment that I think LSU wins it in 2 games. I think LSU wins it in 2 games. We've been here previewing it, and we appreciate our sponsors for making that happen and the Ameristar for making it happen as well. I'm back tomorrow 2 to 4 for a special pregame edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We will get you ready for Game 1 of the championship series. Hope everybody has an awesome Friday. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. I'm back tomorrow getting you ready for a natty. Let's do it. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.